Hi there, today what we're going to be doing is making some Christmas baubles with blown soft glass on a minor burner and your standard 5 litre Oxycon. We'll be decorating it with coloured rods, a little bit of Frit and then using a Tungsten Poker as well. So very simple tools, you've got to have a go at this. As much as you love it or hate it, Christmas is coming, so it's a great time to start doing your baubles. And then we've got the silver and gold plated Bauble Caps as well that fit into the baubles to give it that professional finish. So to begin with, get yourself some soft glass tubing, cut it with your tungsten knife, so it's just a simple score, score and break, and then some of you might get this first time, but a little bit of practice just to pull some points. So you can see that the flame's set differently, so it's not a flame you'd normally work with on a minor burner when you're working soft glass, but have a little bit more propane and have it a softer, bushier flame and work about 2.5–3 inches up. So, and then with this you're able to melt the tubing. You've got more control. If you set the flame too hot and too direct, then the tubing just folds in on itself and melts way too quickly. You're not able to control it. So tap in on a piece of coloured rod. This is a handle, so you're going to pull a point and just heat about 1/2 inch of glass, and then out of the flame just start to stretch the glass, and you want a point of about sort of 8 to 9 inches, as straight as possible. You can always straighten it up later. Back in the flame, just pull off a little tip, and then we'll just score this and open that end up. Give it a couple of seconds to cool so that you're able to hold it. There we go. And then move about 1.5 to 2 inches down the tube, and you can either just pull this off and have a round bottom on it so that you can do the bauble, or ideally you heat up another 1/2 inch of this tube and it pulls your next point so that you're ready, you're not wasting any more glass. So again, just turning the glass backwards and forwards. Remember, you're higher up in the flame than normal, so you're not actually melting the glass to liquid point, and again outside the flame just start to stretch it out, keep twisting at the same time, and you get these nice straight points. So that's the point we're going to be working with. What you might find just a little bit more useful as well is to use another piece of rod, and to use this rod as almost like a second handle, like another mandrel. So you tap it onto the bottom, to the end of the tube, and it just gives you a little bit more support. So knock that off for now. And with this one, I'm just going to start pre-warming the tube. And again, I don't want the tube to melt. So good. And to decorate this bauble, I'm just going to put a little line of colour on. So this is a Reichenbach colour. This is a 94 COE colour. It's a very intense colour. So as you stretch it out into a fine stringer, the colour stays strong and good. And then back to a much more sort of propane flame, and start to keep warming this coloured rod on that you put, and just keep warming it so it doesn't crack off. Again, just heat the end of the bauble, end of the point, and just attach a solid rod and turn it round. This will be another handle for you. And so as you start to work towards blowing the bauble, you need to think, at the moment the glass is relatively thin, so it's about 1 millimetre thick. You don't want to blow that up straight away, because it gets thinner the more you blow it. So when you're starting with a wall of say 1 or 1.2 millimetres, by the time you blow it up, it's going to end up about 0.5 millimetre, so it's very fragile. So as I'm heating the glass up, just let the glass pull together and thicken up. So I've just done this 3 times going down the point, just to get a little bit of heat in there and start the glass off, and then I'm going back and just heating all the tubing And if it starts to pull towards itself, so if you imagine the point was originally 1.5 inches long, and now as it starts to shrink, it comes back to sort of like 1 inch, that's fine, because the wall thickness, the glass wall is thickening up, and that's ideally what you want, so that if you get to a couple of millimeters thick, as you blow it out, it only goes down to 1 millimeter instead of 0.5 millimeter. And so you've got a lot of strength still there. So, and you can see I'm just gently blowing it out, melting it, blowing it back out again, melting it. So increasing the wall thickness all the time. And now we can just get towards the shaping. Quite happy with that one. So just gently heating the bottom. We need to pull away the rod that you've worked with as the handle, and again get rid of all that colour, and then just melt this in, and then you're just going to gently blow it back out again. And it's just gentle little puffs. There's no need to go full pelt as if you're blowing bubbles in your milkshake, otherwise you'll just end up blowing the end out. And so for the first bauble, I'm quite happy with that. So that's got a little trail of what's a very dark violet colour wrapped around it, and when it's cooled down after we put it in cooling bowls for about half an hour, we'll cut the top off here and put the bauble cap in. So that one goes into bauble cap, and sorry, that one goes into cooling bowls. Take another point that I made earlier on, and when you first introduce it into the flame, remember it's soft glass, so just start to work a little bit higher than you would traditionally, not melting it, just pre-warming it almost. If you've got a kiln running, pop the points into a kiln. That's a great way of just taking the chill out of it and stopping cracking. So back to your rod that we're going to use as, like I say, this little handle. Attach that on. So this one's going to be a clear bauble, but we're going to do some little decoration with the rake or the poker, whichever you like to use it with. So we can turn it round. And remember, you're just heating little sections to begin with, and just let it melt and then thicken up a little bit. So don't worry if you start to lose the shape of the tube, you obviously will. Now I'm doing blown baubles, but obviously you want tubes, you want to turn these into sort of candle shapes, that's fine. But it's all again about flame control and just taking your time, don't rush it. And the more you can evenly turn the glass in the flame, then the more you'll get a round shape instead of a pear shape as you blow it out. If you imagine just heating one side of the tube and then attempting to blow it out, just that side that's molten is going to blow out, and so you're not going to get a nice round bauble. So it's important that you concentrate all the time on turning the glass in the flame evenly, which is a good exercise for your bead making, your lamp working, you know, stemware, all in your glass. Get into that routine of continually turning the glass and heating evenly. So they're not going to be the world's biggest baubles. Obviously we're only working on a 5 litre oxycon and a minor burner, so we're limited to size. So this one's a little bit odd shaped, a little bit off centre, but we'll just carry on with this. Just pull this off as a little point. And then reduce the gas, get yourself a nice poker. and just spot heat the areas of the bauble and just gently push the poker in, not too far, but just keep turning it as you push it in. And that stops any chance of it sticking. Of course, you can always chill the poker in a little cup of water as well. And that's the second type I'm going to do today. So that's just like little push-ins. You could also spot heat and just suck the glass gently, and that will give you like little bowls pulled in. So again, go into the cooling bubbles with that one. And then another one I'll show you is at the side here I've got some Frit. So this is your standard Reichenbach Frit, which ideally is 94 COE as well. So although you can decorate the soft glass tubing with 104, 94's a closer match. And so we're just going to decorate this with a red Frit. It's probably a striking red Frit, so it will need to come out of the kiln or the cooling balls and cool down later. So I'm just warming the point I've got here. Just move this underneath the flame. And then just see how much Frit we can pick up. And you can see we've only got a small amount, but then it's not a rush, so we can start again. Warm it through, and through the flame again, through the Frit again. So this is fantastically easy to do on a hothead torch as well. So if you've got a hothead at home, this is a piece of cake to do on a hothead, because you've got that bushier, softer flame on a hothead, which is ideal for doing this. So instead of having to go backwards and forwards up and down the point, heating the glass, the hothead's a broader flame, and what you'll find is you heat the point virtually all in one go, so it's really good as a hothead for that. So we're starting to pick up more of the Frit now. And bring in another rod that you're going to use as your handle, like I was saying. Attach this on the bottom. And then so just go back to a propane rich flame, because it's the size of the flame that I want, just to keep the soft glass as much of the area as I can nice and warm. So I'll just start working little areas at a time, let it shrink together, thicken the wall up, and then blow it back out again. So this is a brilliant way to be giving bespoke presents to families and friends. Nobody else can say they've got baubles on a Christmas tree that you've made for them. So it's a great Christmas present. Of course, if you want to leave the bauble plain with no colour at all, there's no reason, because it's hollow at the top where you put the bauble cap on, there's no reason why you can't take little keepsakes, say feathers or bits of hair and stuff, like locks of hair and stuff, and pop them inside the bauble and then put the cap on. And if you imagine baby's first lock of hair inside there, that's so unique and so beautiful. So again, just taking your time. If you feel it's getting out of shape, let it chill slightly so it goes up to being a solid, and then just start reheating, but obviously remembering the reason it went out of shape was because of you're overheating one specific spot. So the next time you come to heat it, try and heat it as evenly as possible. Because in theory, if you're turning the bauble all the time in the flame, then there's no way you can get any hot spots on one side, as long as you keep turning. It's when you stop to look at it in the flame, or you're rocking it backwards and forwards sometimes. Again, quite happy with that. Just a little bit more concentration, just to take this point off. Might leave this one as a point, I think, if it comes off neatly enough. You can use your shards as well. Great way to use up all bits of shards and stuff. And that's just a striking red Frit. And again, when it cools down, cut it off the top. We'll just score it with a tungsten knife and cut it, and then put the bauble caps on. So give it a go. Send us pictures through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or just email us pictures and show us what you've been doing. And if there's anything better, than ours, we'll put it up on the sites.